The invitation lingered in my inbox like a dormant threat. The annual Brooks family beach house reunion, announced with a save the date. My sister Trinity's chirpy mass email might as well have excluded me entirely. I'm Quinn, the family letdown, or so my mother Iris ensures I never forget, with her pointed silences or thinly veiled sighs of disapproval. "You're not letting it get to you again this year, are you?" Remington asked, leaning over my cubicle wall. His worried look made me snap the email shut. "Of course not," I lied, flashing a forced smile. "Just another day at the office." But it wasn't. The beach house held every cherished memory of my childhood, before everything changed, before I became the outsider. I was 12 that summer when the shift became undeniable. "Quinn, sweetheart, why don't you help in the kitchen?" Mom had said, while Trinity was invited to Dad's business talks on the deck. "Nelson, dear, show the neighbors your new project," she'd urged, leaving me alone with books they dismissed as pointless. My phone buzzed, a text from my childhood friend, Savannah. "Let me guess, another reunion email?" I replied, "Bingo. Want to bet how long before Mom calls to say there's no room this year?" The answer came within the hour. My mother's name lit up my phone screen, right on cue. "Quinn, dear," she began, her voice coated in false warmth. "About the reunion." I cut her off, surprising myself with my calm. "Let me guess, Mom. The house is too full? Trinity's kids need the space? Or is it Nelson's new girlfriend this time?" The silence on the other end was heavy. "Well, you know how it is," she stammered eventually. "Trinity's children are at such a critical age." My eyes flicked to the promotion letter on my desk. Senior Vice President at 35, the youngest in company history. "Yeah, Mom," I said. "I know exactly how it is." After hanging up, I headed to Lance's office, my mentor and boss for the past 10 years. He glanced up from his computer, reading my face instantly. "Family?" he asked, nodding toward the chair across from him. I sank into it, nodding. "I don't know why I still let it bother me." "Because you're human," he said simply. "But you know what the best revenge is?" "Success?" I ventured, managing a faint smile. "No," he replied, leaning forward, eyes gleaming. "It's becoming so successful they can't ignore you." He shifted gears. "Speaking of, have you thought about my proposal for the Richardson merger?" I pulled out my tablet, shoving family thoughts aside. "Actually, I've been crunching some numbers. What if we tackled it from a new angle?" For the next hour, we immersed ourselves in work, my true sanctuary. As I outlined my strategy, confidence surged back. This was my domain, where I thrived. Later that evening, driving home, Savannah called. "You know what you need?" she said without preamble. "A plan." "A plan for what?" I asked. "To show them exactly what they've been missing. You're not that scared little girl anymore, Quinn. You're a powerhouse now." Her words lingered, sparking something resolute within me. The beach house reunion might loom like a storm, but I wasn't the outsider they'd cast me as. Not anymore. I paused at a red light, the city lights smearing across my windshield like a hazy dream. "What's the point?" I muttered, the weight of my family's rejection pressing down. "They've made it clear where I stand." Savannah's voice echoed from our earlier call. "The point is, you deserve better, and maybe it's time they saw that too." After hanging up, I sat in my parked car, gazing up at my luxury apartment building. A decade ago, I'd been an intern, fueled by a fierce need to prove them wrong. Now, I had it all: success, respect, independence, everything except the family acceptance I craved. My phone pinged with another email from Trinity, filled with photos from last year's reunion. Smiling faces, inside jokes, memories I was excluded from. But instead of the familiar sting, a new feeling sparked within me: determination. I opened my laptop and navigated to the real estate website I'd been tracking. The beach house, the one our parents could no longer afford to maintain, had plummeted in value amid the recent economic slump. "Time for a different kind of investment," I whispered, clicking the contact agent button. Savannah's words rang true. This wasn't about revenge, I told myself, but justice. the kind that grows with compound interest. Days later, I stood before the board of directors, my voice steady. The Richardson merger isn't just about combining assets, I explained, my laser pointer tracing key projections on the screen. It's about redefining our market presence. Remington, seated at the far end of the conference table, flashed a subtle thumbs up. After countless late nights perfecting this presentation, we both knew the stakes. Mr. Richardson leaned forward, his weathered face studying the data. "You're certain about these numbers?" he asked. "I stake my reputation on them," I replied without a flicker of doubt. "More importantly, I stake the future of both our companies on them." Lance, seated beside him, cleared his throat. "Quinn has never led us astray. Her track record is impeccable." 2 hours later, the meeting wrapped with handshakes and signed preliminary agreements, the room buzzing with cautious optimism. As the board members filed out, Lance pulled me aside, his face beaming. "Outstanding work," he said. "But why didn't you mention the Hong Kong promotion opportunity? This merger's success practically locks you in for the international division head role." My stomach tightened. The position, a career-defining leap, happened to overlap with the family reunion dates. "Still weighing my options," I said carefully, the choice looming larger than ever. The beach house plan, the merger, the promotion, they were all pieces of a puzzle I was only beginning to understand, each one a step toward rewriting my place in a family that had long written me off. Back at my desk, Remington leaned against the edge, coffee cup in hand. "Spill it, Quinn. What's really holding you back? This Hong Kong role is everything you've worked for." Before I could respond, my phone buzzed, Trinity's name lighting up the screen. I let it go to voicemail. "That's what's holding her back," Savannah declared, striding in with lunch bags. "Family drama, as usual." I glanced up, surprised. "I thought we were meeting at the deli." "Changed my mind," she said, handing out sandwiches. "Besides, I wanted to see the aftermath of your big presentation." Her eyes narrowed knowingly. "So, Hong Kong?" I sighed. "News travels fast." "Good news should travel fast," Remington pressed. "You're not seriously considering passing this up because of them?" My phone buzzed again, a text from Trinity. "Mom's asking if you got the reunion email. Please respond." Savannah snatched my phone. "Oh, hell no. You know what this is? They're realizing they can't ignore you anymore. The family gossip vine must have caught wind of your success." "Give it back," I said, reaching, but she held it out of reach. "Not until you promise to stop letting them control your choices." "I'm not," I began, but Remington interrupted. "Quinn, remember last month's charity gala? You owned that room full of CEOs. That's who you are, not the invisible middle child they made you feel like." My phone buzzed a third time. Nelson now. "Hey sis, long time? Got a minute to chat?" "Suddenly, everyone wants to talk," I said dryly. "Because you're becoming impossible to ignore," Savannah grinned. "Now, about Hong Kong." "The timing," I started. "Is perfect," Remington finished. "Show them what they're missing while they play happy family at their precious beach house." Lance appeared in my doorway. "Quinn, Mr. Richardson wants to discuss implementation strategies over dinner, tonight." I stood, smoothing my jacket. "Text me the details." After he left, Savannah raised an eyebrow. "Look at you, making power moves." "It's just dinner," I said, but a smile crept in. "Just dinner with one of the industry's biggest players," Remington corrected, "while your family probably thinks you're still shuffling papers in some entry-level job." My phone lit up again. Mom this time. "Quinn, dear, please call when you can. Important family matters to discuss." Savannah read it over my shoulder and scoffed. "Important family matters? Like how they're running out of excuses to exclude you?" I gathered my presentation materials, my focus shifting to the dinner ahead. "They can keep their excuses. I've got an empire to build." "That's my girl," Remington said, grinning. "Speaking of building, have you made an offer on the beach house yet?" "Tomorrow," I replied, checking my makeup in a compact mirror. "The agent says we're the only serious buyers in this market." "Perfect timing," Savannah sang, "right before they announce this year's reunion details." As I headed out for the Richardson dinner, I felt lighter than I had in weeks. My family might have perfected the art of diminishing me, but in my world, I was anything but small. "Hey," Remington called after me. "Don't forget who you are in there. Show them Quinn Unleashed." I smiled, the beach house listing waiting in my inbox like a promise of what was to come. "Oh, I plan to show everyone exactly who I am," I said, my voice steady with resolve. At the real estate agent's office, the agent slid the keys across her desk, their metallic sheen catching the fluorescent light. My hand trembled slightly as I took them. These weren't just keys to a property. They were the keys to my past and, more crucially, my future. "I can't believe you actually did it," Savannah whispered, squeezing my arm. The agent offered a professional smile. "The paperwork will be finalized by the end of the day." "Given the market, you've made a remarkably smart investment." As we left, I gripped the keys so tightly they left marks in my palm. My phone buzzed. Lance. "Tell me you closed the deal," he said without preamble. "Just signed the papers," I replied. "Perfect timing. The Hong Kong position is yours if you want it. Board approved it this morning." I froze, causing Savannah to bump into me. "Already? I thought the decision was next month." "Your performance at the Richardson dinner clinched it," Lance said. "He specifically wants you leading the merger transition team." Savannah, overhearing, was practically vibrating with excitement. As I hung up, she grabbed my shoulders. "This is perfect, Quinn. You own their precious beach house, and you're about to become an international executive. Please tell me you're going to make them feel every second of this." My phone chimed. A text from Trinity. "Family meeting this weekend about the reunion. Mom insists you come. Please." Savannah cackled. "They have no idea you own their reunion venue." "Neither does the agent," I reminded her. "I made sure the purchase went through my corporation's name." "Sneaky. I love it," she said, linking her arm with mine as we walked to the car. "So, what's the plan?" Before I could answer, Remington called. "Lance told me the news, both pieces. You're accepting Hong Kong, right?" "I haven't decided," I said, putting him on speaker as we drove. "What's to decide?" he pressed. "It's ideal. Run the merger from Asia, build your global profile, and let your family stew in their regrets." "Speaking of stewing," Savannah chimed in, "Quinn just got summoned to a family meeting about the reunion." "No way!" Remington laughed. "You going?" I turned onto the coastal road toward the beach house. My beach house. Actually, yes. I think it's time for a visit. The familiar drive felt transformed. Every curve, every glimpse of ocean through the trees was mine in a way it never had been. I parked in front of the sprawling Victorian, its weathered blue paint and white trim unchanged from memory. Savannah whistled. I forgot how stunning this place is. No wonder they're desperate to keep the reunions going. I climbed the steps and unlocked the door with my new keys. The house smelled of sea salt and nostalgia, summer nights, family dinners, whispered secrets. But now, woven through it all, was the quiet thrill of victory. My phone rang. Mom. "Quinn, are you coming this weekend? Trinity said she texted you." "Actually, Mom," I said, standing in the heart of the home, "I'm at the beach house right now." Silence. Then, "What? How? The realtor said it was sold." I smiled, letting the moment hang. "Did she? Interesting," I murmured, trailing my fingers along the familiar walls of the beach house living room. "Don't worry about it, Mom. I'll see you this weekend." I hung up before she could reply, leaving her stunned silence hanging in the air. Savannah, recording the moment on her phone, could barely contain her glee. "That was flawless. Did you hear her voice crack?" "Send me that video," Remington said through the speaker. "I need it for posterity." I opened the French doors to the deck, the ocean breeze washing over me. "You know what's funny? They always said I didn't value family tradition, but I'm the one who saved it. By buying it out from under them," Savannah added with a smirk. "Sometimes the best revenge isn't about tearing something down," I said, gazing at the waves crashing below. "It's about preserving it, on your own terms." My phone buzzed repeatedly. Trinity, Nelson, Mom, one after another. I ignored them all, So, Remington's voice crackled. What's the next move, boss? I smiled, already envisioning the family meeting. Now we prepare for a reunion they'll never forget. Savannah offered, Want company this weekend? I'm an excellent witness. No, I said, pulling out my laptop. This I need to do alone, but first I've got a Hong Kong acceptance letter to draft. Standing on my deck, watching my ocean, I felt my plan solidify. The frightened girl who once hid in this house's shadows was gone, replaced by someone my family would finally have to reckon with. The next morning, I was deep in merger documents, working from my new home office with the ocean view, when car doors slammed outside. Familiar voices floated through the open windows. Mom, I'm telling you, Quinn was acting strange on the phone, Trinity said. She's always strange, Nelson replied. Remember last Christmas? I closed my laptop, heart racing. They were early. The family meeting wasn't until tomorrow. Peering through the window, I watched them unload their cars as if they still owned the place, which of course they didn't. My phone buzzed. Remington. Game time? I texted back. They're here early. Wish me luck. His reply was instant. Show no mercy. At the front door, I heard keys rattling, then confused voices. Mom, your key isn't working, Trinity called. That's impossible. I had it checked last month, Mom replied. I descended the stairs, each step deliberate, my Louboutins clicking on the hardwood. The sound silenced their chatter. Opening the door, I met their shocked faces with a calm smile. Looking for something? Quinn? Mom's hand flew to her chest. What are you doing here? How did you get in? I live here, I said simply, stepping aside. Please come in. My house is your house. Literally. The silence was exquisite. Trinity's mouth gaped like a fish. Nelson dropped his duffel bag. What do you mean you live here? Mom finally stammered. I led them to the kitchen, knowing they'd follow. Coffee? I just brewed a fresh pot. Colombian roast. Your favorite, Mom. Quinn, Trinity said, her elder sister tone sharp. What's going on? I poured myself a cup, savoring their bewilderment. I thought the family meeting was tomorrow. Did I miss a memo? Oh, wait. I paused, letting the moment stretch, their confusion my quiet triumph. I smiled over my coffee cup, the warmth of the mug grounding me. I guess I'm not usually included in those memos. Nelson's patience snapped. Stop playing games, Quinn. How are you even in here? This is our family house. I pulled out my phone, opening the property documents with a flourish. Actually, it's my house now. Has been for 2 weeks. Want to see the deed? Mom collapsed into a kitchen chair, her face pale. That's impossible. We would have known. Would you? I leaned against the counter, relishing their stunned expressions. When was the last time any of you asked what I was doing with my life? Coffee? No? Your loss. It's imported. Trinity snatched my phone, scrolling frantically through the documents. This can't be real. How could you possibly afford? The same way I afford my penthouse, my Aspen vacation home, and my car collection, I said, voice casual but pointed. I work. Remember work? That thing you all said I'd never figure out? Nelson choked out, Your what? A car door slammed outside, followed by Dad's booming voice. Why is everyone standing around? Help me with these groceries. In here, Dad, I called. Let me help with those. He appeared in the doorway, arms full of bags, and froze. Quinn, what's going on? Family meeting came early. I took the bags, unpacking them with practiced ease. Though, next time, you might want to check with me before buying groceries for my house. Your house? He glanced at Mom, still silent and shell-shocked. Perhaps we should all sit down, I suggested, gesturing to the dining room. We have some catching up to do. They trailed me like dazed sheep to the table where we'd shared countless family meals I was often excluded from, sent to the kitchen to wash dishes. I took my place at the head, Dad's old spot, and folded my hands. So, about this year's reunion, Trinity exploded. You can't just buy our family home. This is our tradition. Funny thing about traditions, I said, inspecting my manicure. They're only as strong as the people maintaining them. When the bank called about foreclosure, Where was your tradition then? Mom's head jerked up. How did you know about that? I know everything, Mom. The missed payments, the second mortgage, the tax liens. I know because, unlike some, I do my research before investing. My phone buzzed. Savannah. Need backup? I texted back. All good. Operation Karma in progress. I looked up at their stunned faces and smiled. Now, about those reunion plans. I'm thinking we need some changes this year. After all, I gestured to the ocean view gleaming through the windows. New house, new rules? The dawning comprehension on their faces outshone any merger deal I'd ever closed. We were just getting started. Trinity broke the tense silence. You could have told us, about your success, your career, everything. Could I? I raised an eyebrow. When? Between being uninvited to family gatherings or during the holiday calls that never came? Dad cleared his throat. Now, Quinn, that's not entirely fair. I laughed, the sound sharp enough to make Mom flinch. Let's talk about fair. Remember my college graduation? The room went still, their guilt a palpable weight, and I knew this moment was mine to command. Mom's protest was feeble. That was different, Quinn. Nelson was up for a scholarship. Which he didn't get, I cut in sharply. Meanwhile, I was accepting my MBA with honors. Not that any of you knew, you never asked. My phone buzzed. Lance. Hong Kong announcement goes public tomorrow. Want me to delay? I texted back. Perfect timing. Proceed as planned. Nelson leaned forward, eyes narrowed. So what now? You're going to hold this over us? Make us beg to use our family house? Your family house? I stood, gesturing toward the renovated kitchen. Come see what your family house looked like when I bought it. Rotting deck boards, a leaking roof, wiring one storm away from a fire. I opened a folder on the counter, spreading out before and after photos. 60,000 in repairs to make it livable. Another 100,000 in renovations. Where was your family pride then? Trinity picked up a photo, her face ashen. We didn't know it was this bad. Because none of you bothered to check, I said. You assumed it would magically fix itself, like you assumed I'd never amount to anything. Dad stood abruptly. That's enough, Quinn. We may have made mistakes, but you're still our daughter. Am I? I faced him unflinching. Because for 20 years I've been your afterthought. My phone lit up with a news alert. The Hong Kong announcement had leaked early. Mom's phone buzzed moments later, her eyes widening as she read. Vice President of International Operations? She whispered. Quinn, you're moving to Hong Kong? Among other things, I said, pouring more coffee with a smile. The merger I just closed is worth more than this house and everything in it. Trinity grabbed Mom's phone, reading aloud. Youngest executive in company history. Revolutionary merger strategy. Projected to triple market share. Impossible, Nelson muttered. You're just Quinn. Just Quinn? I echoed softly. Funny how that works, isn't it? The daughter you never believed in now owns your precious beach house and runs a global division. Dad sank back into his chair. Why didn't you tell us? I did, I said. Every time I mentioned work, you'd pivot to Trinity's kids or Nelson's latest venture. Every achievement, every promotion met with polite disinterest. My phone buzzed again. Remington. Stock's up 12% on the Hong Kong news. You're trending on LinkedIn. Mom was still staring at her phone. These numbers, Quinn. These are… More money than you can imagine, I supplied. Yes, and that's just the beginning. Trinity's voice was quiet. So what happens now? With the reunion? With everything? I walked to the windows, gazing at the ocean I now owned. Now we do things differently. The reunion will happen, but under new management. Meaning? Nelson challenged. Meaning I've booked the top floor of the Four Seasons for everyone, I said, turning back to them. The beach house needs some private time with its new owner. Mom's voice cracked. You're kicking us out? No, Mom, I said. I'm showing you what it feels like to be excluded. The difference is, I'm doing it with 5-star accommodations and an ocean view. Dad stood again, slower this time, his expression unreadable as the weight of my words settled over the room. Dad's words hung in the air, but I didn't waver. We deserved that, all of it. But Quinn, are you sure this is what you want? I met each of their gazes in turn. What I want. I want 20 years of missed birthdays and ignored accomplishments. I want an explanation for why I was never good enough. But since I can't have that, I pulled out a stack of hotel reservations and slid them across the table. I'll settle for watching you realize what you missed out on. Trinity picked up a reservation, gasping at the sweet description. This must have cost less than an hour of my new salary, I cut in. Consider it a parting gift before Hong Kong. Mom's voice was faint. How long will you be gone? I smiled, recalling all the family events I'd been excluded from. Long enough for you to understand what absence feels like. Now, shall we discuss the new reunion rules? The silence that followed carried the weight of their 2 decades of regret, none of it mine. At the Four Seasons, the lobby hummed as my family checked into their suites. I stood back, watching Trinity's kids dart around the marble columns while Nelson fumbled to impress the concierge with small talk. Your car is ready, Ms. Brooks, the valet said with a discreet bow. Mom's head whipped around at his deferential tone, her eyes widening as she spotted my Bentley waiting outside. Quinn, she called, hurrying over. We need to talk, properly talk. I checked my watch. Actually, I have a meeting. The merger doesn't pause for family drama. Please, she said, touching my arm, the first physical contact we'd had in years. Coffee? 20 minutes? I studied her face, noting the new lines around her eyes. Fine. Rooftop lounge, 15 minutes. Upstairs, Mom fidgeted with her coffee cup as I answered urgent Hong Kong emails. Finally, she spoke. I didn't know you were accomplished. Clearly, I said, setting my phone down. You never asked. We thought, she faltered, after you dropped out of law school? I didn't drop out, I corrected, voice sharp. I was accepted to business school, full scholarship to Harvard. You'd know if you'd read my letters. Your father and I just wanted you to have a stable career, she said. Like Trinity's law practice that never materialized? Or Nelson's failed startups you kept funding? The door opened and Savannah walked in, pausing when she saw us. Oh, sorry, I can come back. No, stay, I said, waving her over. Mom was just explaining why they never believed in me. Mrs. Brooks, Savannah said coolly, nodding. Long time no see, though I guess you wouldn't remember me from all those holidays I spent with Quinn while you were at Trinity's. Mom looked embarrassed. Savannah, of course I remember you. Save it, Savannah said, sitting down. I'm just here to finalize Hong Kong details with Quinn. You know, for her massive promotion you all ignored. My phone buzzed. Trinity. Mom, okay? She looks upset. I texted back. She's fine, learning some hard truths. Mom's voice was barely a whisper. Quinn, were we really that terrible? Savannah snorted, but I raised a hand. You weren't terrible, Mom. You were indifferent, and that was worse. The words landed like a stone, and for the first time I saw something like understanding flicker in her eyes. Mom's plea was desperate. We can fix this, Quinn. Now that we know. Now that you know I'm successful, I finished, voice steady. Now that I have money, power, influence, that's not fixing anything. That's just you changing your mind because I proved you wrong. The door opened and Dad walked in. Your mother's been gone a while. Oh. Join us, I said, gesturing to an empty chair. We're having a lovely chat about family dynamics. He sat heavily. Quinn, about the beach house. Already done, I interrupted. Back taxes paid, liens cleared, property fully renovated. You're welcome. That's not, he began. Not what you meant? I gave a tight smile. No, it never is. Savannah opened her laptop. Quinn, we need to finalize your Hong Kong housing allowance. They're offering 3 options. The penthouse in Victoria Harbor, I said without glancing up. I've decided. Mom's coffee cup clattered. Penthouse? Did you think international executives live in studio apartments? Savannah asked with mock sweetness. My phone buzzed. Nelson. Family dinner tonight? My treat? I replied, can't. Board dinner at Le Bernardin. Dad leaned forward. Quinn, we know we messed up, but pushing us away, buying the beach house, moving to Hong Kong, is this really the answer? I stood, smoothing my skirt. The beach house isn't about pushing you away. It's about taking control of something you never thought I deserved. As for Hong Kong, I smiled. That's just good business. When will we see you? Mom's voice cracked. I'll be back for holidays, I said, gathering my things. Maybe if I'm not too busy running my division. Savannah stood, her expression triumphant. Don't worry, Mrs. Brooks. I'm sure Trinity will keep you updated on all the family news. She always has before. As we left, I heard Mom's soft sobs. A part of me wanted to turn back, to comfort her as I always had, but that part was fading fast. You okay? Savannah asked in the elevator. I checked my reflection in the mirrored walls, adjusting my designer blazer. Never better. Ready for that board dinner? Born ready, she grinned. But are you really making them stay at the hotel all reunion week? I smiled as the doors opened. That's just the beginning. Wait until they see what I have planned for Christmas. The reunion dinner at the Four Seasons Ballroom was everything I'd orchestrated. Crystal chandeliers gleaming, a string quartet filling the air with elegance, and my family seated at the main table, visibly uneasy in their business casual clothes amid the formal setting. The concierge had provided emergency formal wear after I forgot to mention the dress code. Is all this really necessary? Nelson muttered, tugging at his borrowed tie. The 5-star catering? The premium open bar? The private balcony with an ocean view? I sipped my champagne. Consider it making up for all those reunions I missed. Trinity's husband whistled as servers presented the appetizers. This caviar, it's real beluga, isn't it? Only the best for family, I said, smiling. Though I'm sure it's nothing compared to the sandwich platters you usually have at reunions. Mom hadn't touched her food. Quinn, can we talk? Privately? Her voice was soft, but I held her gaze, knowing this moment, like everything else, was on my terms. I led Mom to the balcony where the ocean breeze carried the scent of salt and wealth. Behind us, Trinity's kids squealed over the chocolate fountain. This is cruel, Mom said softly. Cruel? I turned to face her. Treating my family to luxury is cruel? You know what I mean, flaunting your success like this. I leaned against the railing. Like you flaunted Trinity's law school graduation or Nelson's engagement party, the ones I wasn't invited to? Her voice dropped to a whisper. We were wrong. Is that what you want to hear? What I want, I said, measured, is for you to understand what you missed. Every promotion, every milestone you ignored, it led to this. To me, booking an entire hotel floor without a second thought. The balcony door opened and Lance stepped out. Quinn? He nodded to Mom. Mrs. Brooks, I'm Lance Whitfield. I've mentored your daughter for a decade. Mom's eyes widened. You're her boss? From the news? Lance smiled. Actually, as of next month, Quinn will be my equal in the corporate hierarchy. Possibly my superior, given her trajectory. Mom processed this, the weight of my success sinking in. The Hong Kong position, she said slowly. It's really that significant? I laughed lightly. Mom, I'll be running operations for half of Asia. My signing bonus alone could buy the beach house twice over. Lance glanced at his watch. Speaking of, the Tokyo office is waiting for our call. Shall we? Of course, I said, turning to Mom. Enjoy dinner. The dessert course includes gold leaf. Try not to dwell on the cost. As we walked away, Lance muttered, Brutal. I love it. Back in the ballroom, Remington had arrived with a surprise. Copies of tomorrow's Wall Street Journal, my face gracing the business section. Hot off the press, he announced, handing them to my stunned family. Thought you'd want a souvenir of your daughter's success. Dad picked up a copy, hands trembling, as he read. Global Market Leadership. Revolutionary Approach to International Commerce. Don't strain yourself, Dad, I called out. The numbers might overwhelm a small-town insurance agent. Trinity read aloud to her husband. Youngest executive to lead Asian operations, projected to increase market share by 300% in 5 years. Nelson stood abruptly. "Quinn, can I talk to you? About a business opportunity?" "Sorry, little brother," I said, glancing at my phone. "My investment portfolio's fully managed, but I hear my company has great entry-level positions." The string quartet resumed, and servers presented the main course, Wagyu beef with truffle sauce. I watched my family struggle to maintain composure amid luxury they never imagined I could provide. The concierge appeared at my side. "Your car is ready for the Tokyo call, Ms. Brooks." "Thank you, James." I slipped him a $100 bill. "Ensure my family has everything they need." "Of course, Ms. Brooks." As I gathered my things, Mom caught my arm. "When will you be back? From Hong Kong?" I surveyed the ballroom, the opulence, my shocked family, the life I'd built without them. "You know, Mom, I'm not sure. But don't worry, I'll send pictures." With that, I walked out, ready for Tokyo, for Hong Kong, for the empire I was building, leaving them to grapple with the daughter they'd underestimated for far too long. "Just like you sent reunion photos all these years, excluding me," I said, my voice cool as I walked out of the ballroom. Behind me, Remington's voice rang out. "Wait until you hear about her new penthouse in Victoria Harbor." The click of my heels on the marble lobby floor echoed with purpose, each step carrying me further from the family that never believed in me and closer to the empire I'd forged from their doubt. Let them eat Wagyu, I thought, and choke on every golden bite. The next morning, sunlight bathed the beach house in a golden glow as I packed my essentials for Hong Kong. Savannah sat cross-legged on my bed, sifting through old photos we'd found in the attic. "Look at this," she said, holding up a faded picture. "Your 10th birthday. You're the only one looking at the camera while everyone fawns over Trinity's new puppy." A knock at the door cut me off before I could respond. Mom stood in the doorway, clutching a small wooden box. "Can I come in?" she asked softly. I nodded, continuing to pack. She perched on the bed's edge, turning the box in her hands. "I found this in our attic," she said. "It's everything I saved about you, things I was too proud to admit I kept." She opened it, revealing newspaper clippings, honor roll certificates, even the program from my MBA graduation they'd skipped. My hands paused on a silk blouse. "You kept these?" "Everyone," she whispered. I told myself I was being practical, not encouraging pipe dreams, but really, I was scared. Nellie's eyes widened. "Scared of what?" "That you'd succeed where I failed, that you'd break free from the small-town life I settled for." She pulled out a business magazine from last year featuring my name in a 30 under 40 E list. "And you did." Savannah stood quietly. "I'll give you 2 a minute." "No," I said, catching her arm. "Stay. You're more family than most of them have been." My phone buzzed. Trinity. "At the beach. Can we talk?" I texted back. "Send her up." Minutes later, Trinity appeared in the doorway, hesitant. "Nelson's here too. And Dad. We wanted to see you before you left." They filed in, crowding my bedroom. Nelson held a manila envelope. "What's that?" I nodded toward it. "Investment proposals," he admitted. "But not for me, for the beach house. We've all contributed if you'll let us." I raised an eyebrow. "I don't need your money." "We know," Dad said, stepping forward. "But we need to invest in something we should have years ago, our family." "Pretty words," I said, "but actions speak louder." Trinity pulled out her phone. "I've postponed my partnership acceptance and taken a sabbatical. I thought I could visit you in Hong Kong, really get to know my sister." Nelson added, "I've enrolled in online business courses. Thought you could mentor me? Do it right this time?" Mom opened her box again, pulling out a key. "We don't expect forgiveness," she said, "but maybe we can build something new, something better." I looked at the key. "Well, what's this for?" "The front door," she said, her smile sad. I kept it, thinking it meant something. "But you showed us what matters isn't keys or houses or reunions. It's the people we choose to become." Savannah squeezed my hand as I took the key. "I'm still going to Hong Kong," I said firmly. "We know," they replied in unison. "And I'm still angry." The weight of their regret filled the room, but so did a faint flicker of possibility. one I wasn't ready to embrace yet, but couldn't entirely dismiss. "You should be," Dad said, his voice heavy with acknowledgement. "And this doesn't fix everything." "Nothing could," Mom added softly. "But maybe it's a start?" I walked to the window, gazing out at the ocean. My ocean. Behind me, I heard the rustle of Nelson's papers, Trinity's shaky breaths, and the faint creak of Mom's wooden box, filled with her hidden pride. "The reunion," I said at last, turning to face them, "will alternate between here and Hong Kong, and you'll all need passports." The tension shattered. Trinity let out a tearful laugh. Nelson's envelope slipped to the floor, and Dad sank into a chair. "Really?" Mom's voice trembled. "Really," I said firmly, "but not because you've earned it. Because I choose it. There's a difference." Savannah grinned. "Does this mean I get to plan the Hong Kong reunion? Because I have ideas." "You're all going to learn Mandarin," I continued, "and proper business etiquette, and how to navigate international markets." "Whatever it takes," Nelson said, and for the first time, I believed him. My phone buzzed. "Lance. Car's here for the airport." "That's my cue," I said, picking up my carry-on. "Quinn?" Mom stood, her eyes glistening. "Thank you. Not for the forgiveness we don't deserve, but for the chance we didn't earn." I looked at them, my imperfect, struggling, finally trying family. "Don't waste it," I said, my voice steady but not unkind. As I walked to the waiting car, I heard their footsteps behind me, saw their reflections in the polished black paint. They weren't chasing me anymore. They were walking with me, different but possible. "Hong Kong won't know what hit it," Savannah declared, pulling me into a goodbye hug. I smiled, picturing the view from my new office, my family learning to speak my language, and the future stretching out like the horizon ahead. "Neither will they," I said, sliding into the car. The beach house stood proud behind us, no longer a symbol of exclusion, but a bridge between who we were and who we might become. Not perfect, but possible. And for now, that was enough.